Hey, Steven, what are you working on today?
Well, so late last week I discovered this plugin called Unreal.js. It's free. It's a plugin for Unreal that adds JavaScript support to your game.
Cool.
And so I figured that would be an important technology to incorporate for CodeSpells. So I spent today doing a proof of concept of that.
Okay.
And I guess I can show you a little bit of the problem that it's solving. So this is some gross code that I'm going to zoom out just so you can see this gigantic chain of
visual programming.
Yeah. So essentially, before any kind of verb like spawn or dig or build, for example, that's the verb for when you use the build rune that we've seen before. All of these are routes on a web server that I'm configuring here in Unreal's visual programming language, Blueprint. And for one thing, it's annoying and gross. But even the worst thing is the fact that all the code for something like build has to be here in Blueprint as well. So I have this, function basically that says handle build request, and and then I say what it means to handle a build request. So that's basically the code that runs when you run a spell, when you cast a spell with the build rune. And just from a software engineering perspective, having all this code so far away from the other code that defines that rune is kind of a shame. So essentially I fixed that. And so most of this stuff is going to go away, and it'll be replaced by just this one up here.
Ooh, JavaScript.
Yeah, so the one verb is execute some JavaScript, and then I pass along the JavaScript to execute, and that essentially lets me, over where I'm actually defining runes, like here. So here's my racket code for saying what happens when a build rune gets executed. And so maybe a tiny bit messy here, but it's not that bad. You see that it calls this JavaScript function right here, build sphere.
Yeah.
And so if I wanted to change what the build rune did, which actually let's do that just as a demo. So I'll take build sphere here, and maybe we'll make it so that the build rune just builds 3 spheres at slightly different places. So I'm going to add to the Z, which goes up. I know that's a little confusing. Well, you'd expect it maybe to be the Y, but in Unreal it's the Z.
The Z.
So let's maybe do one at 500, and another at 1,000, and maybe another at 1,500.
Yeah.
And so that effectively should do it, because everything about what the build rune does is basically encapsulated in whatever JavaScript we send over to Unreal to be executed. So I didn't have to go into Unreal to change what the build rune did, and that's the important thing, because I want the whole framework to be moddable by other people.
Yeah.
And I don't want everyone to necessarily have to download Unreal and mess around in Unreal or learn Blueprint. If you're going to use Racket to define new runes, then I want you to be able to, as much as possible, use Racket to change what those runes do and add new runes with different functionality.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm not sure if that'll work. I think it will, but let's find out.
Yeah.
So I should be able to pop in here. Oh, I already forgot one thing. I need to now that I changed it, I have to restart my CodeSpells server. So let's let that start back up. And there we go. So yeah, now we're here in game, and I can press, let me make it a little bit bigger, just, oops, so we can see it better. So let's use the build rune and wrap it in parentheses. And then I don't have to press run. It just loads it up.
Yeah.
So let's see if we get...
Yeah, look at all those.
So that just changed the meaning of what the build rune is
Oh man, people are gonna mod the heck out of this.
Yeah, I think so.
This is awesome.
I mean, starting with me, like, I
Yeah.
want everything I do to be essentially a mod, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't want to release just one thing that is CodeSpells, you know. I want to have lots of different packages, different
Right.
tools that people can use to make their own sort of CodeSpells-like experiences. So I'm making sure everything's modelable from the beginning, from
That's
the ground
fantastic.
up, which I think is something we didn't do last time, but we should have done. So.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steven.